So I just really wanted to come on here really quickly to share more of my experience, my history, my past, my now, my present, and my growth, and what I've learned over the years spiritually. So you could say one of my earliest memories, my first memory of trauma. It happened, I don't know, it must have been, 3, 4 years old, maybe 5. But I remember there were boys playing in the street, and I went up, I was curious, I wanted to see what they were doing, and it just so happens that they were playing with a dead bird. And what they wanted to do with this dead bird was they wanted to lay it on the street so that a car could run over it, and so it could splatter everywhere, and that was exciting for them. And I tried to stop them. I was like, no, this is wrong. And I took the bird and I tried to save the bird. I tried to save this dead bird. And of course, right now, I understand the supreme irony of it all. Not only me trying to save something that was dead, but also me trying to stop these boys from doing what they were trying to do. This sort of issue of me trying to save the dead, or trying to beat the dead horse, even as the saying goes, it has followed me throughout my life, and that's why I had that memory so early as a child of, oh no, this should never happen, this shouldn't be happening. And why it was so hard for me, again, it's bird, dead bird at that, but it was so traumatic for me because I felt like, oh no, the bird should have been saved, or it should be properly buried, or whatever. We tend to want to save, but what I've learned is that that's actually incorrect, because the saving that I wanted to do, salvation I wanted to bring, was forceful. I wanted to forcibly save this dead bird. I wanted to forcibly stop these boys. I wanted to forcibly help. And I'm finally, after all these years, all these decades, and I'm sure many, 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 many lifetimes, am starting to figure out, oh, this is actually not the right way. This is not total respect to free will, which is that is the supreme law of the universe, free will. And that's why force is never allowed, even if you think it's a good thing that you're doing, like force feeding someone, or giving someone medicine forcibly, paying someone's bills forcibly, anything. Trying to help someone forcibly is just not what you should do. You have to allow people to fall on their own sword, so to speak, fall on their face, so to speak, trip, make their mistakes, and and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're a close family member, if they're a random stranger. It doesn't matter who they are. You just have to allow them to explore their own choices in life. And you can offer advice, you can offer an alternative, but then you have to let it go and let them choose whatever choice they want to, basically whatever experience they want to choose. And you have to let it go. But I just wanted to read this, and this comes from this book, which is Kim Michaels, effectively. But this particular part comes from who I like like to call the baddest of them all, Gautama. And I'm going to amend this a little tiny bit so that it's relevant to anyone who's just hearing from me on this video. We have said, for example, that you saw that people are suffering. Before you came here on Earth, you expected that if you told people how to overcome suffering, they would accept your words and set themselves free from suffering. The reason for this is that you, based on your experience, you are willing to overcome your limitations and your suffering. If someone tells you how to do it, you would be willing to do it, and you expect that everyone else is the same way. This is again based on your experience. The expectation that other people will want to be free of their suffering is logical for you, but is not applicable at all for most people on this planet. And that was the hard truth that I needed to learn. And that is why the dead bird event, that memory, was just stuck in my head. And there are other events that I can say, but like that's really what started it off. And again, it's completely ironic. I tried to save a dead bird. But hey, you could see it as a cute thing, you could see it as me trying to be compassionate, which I certainly see the compassionate side of it, but I also see the selfish side, and that is what's difficult to see, and what most people would ignore if they had the same inklings, if you will. There's a selfish component to it all, because it wasn't, if I wanted suffering to end, or if it caused me so much grief to see something like that, like a bird being desecrated, a dead bird, or something not even living being desecrated, or just suffering, period. Any type of desecration, desolation, rot, or any suffering, any darkness, if that caused me such trauma, I would have died myself a long time ago. I mean, look around. There's no end to it on this planet. And for people who are perhaps like me, who I like to call truth seekers or spiritual people, you may feel the same way, like, oh, suffering should not happen, bad things shouldn't happen, but you just sort of have to accept, well, maybe this is what people want here. The suffering experience is what people want. The desecration experience is what people want. The desolation experience is what people want. And we just have to accept that, oh, this is just free will outplaying itself. And I'm just here to be myself in this sort of environment. Can I withstand this? Can I be in this environment? The answer, of course, is yes, you can. You can not only be, but you can be at peace. And you can fully be yourself in such an environment in which people do not want to transcend their suffering. But yeah, I wanted to say that, and I also wanted to bring up, first of all, I wanted to bring up, because this really hasn't clicked for me until rather recently, and I forget the man's name, but whoever created the show White Lotus, an amazing show. Season 1 was fantastic, but season 2 is like twice as good. And there is an individual in season 2 who I really connect with. There's a lot of people to connect with in White Lotus, but an individual who said, admitted that, they're attracted to the wounded bird. And that triggered like the memory, oh, the dead bird that I had. But yeah, this individual in the show was like chasing the prostitutes who he thinks that he needs to save, and it ends up ruining him, or making him fall on his face, because who's trying to save something that basically doesn't want to be saved. And he just had to come to learn that lesson. It's a hard lesson to learn. But in general, also, I wanted to say, because I wanted to go out and tell people this or that, and my experience is that people completely ignore me. They look at me up and down and they say, well, clearly you don't have anything for me. How could you possibly? And they just turn the other way. And I'm like, well, I have the answer, but I have the solution. Where are you going? Why are you turning away from me? And I had to learn that too. I had to learn to accept people ignoring me, even though I have the answer, even though I have the light. I have what the solution, what people need, the medicine. But it's so ironic that you think something is supposed to work a certain way, and then you find out, oh, okay, well, I guess things are going to just have to work this way. And again, it's all part of that total learning, total respect for free will, which God has. That patience is key, but it's it's something that one of the hardest lessons for me. And I call that in particular, the whole people not listening to you, the Cassandra effect. Of course, in Greek mythology, there was Cassandra, who was blessed and cursed at the same time with prophecy. So, she was blessed with the gift of seeing the future and being able to see what would happen. But the curse came with the fact that no matter what she saw, no matter what she would say about the future, about her premonitions, people would completely ignore her. And this is sort of a theme that I've found with spiritual people who want to say, oh, hey, this is how you solve things. And people either ignoring or just, if you get really bad, then people kill you, or they try to kill you, they try to attack you in various ways, or discredit you in various ways, defame you in various ways. And this is just another aspect of that sort of total respect for free will and for any other spiritual people or truth seekers. The Cassandra effect is a huge hurdle for us. But I feel like I'm finally at that point where I can be okay with it. Basically, I'm okay with it, and I'm okay with people ignoring me. I'm okay with people disowning me. I'm okay with people not accepting me, and because that doesn't define me anymore. I am, regardless of what people's reactions to me are. And so, thank you, Gautama, for that lesson, and Kim Michaels, I should say, as well. It's great. It's great that you can release all of these things that you always wanted from people, and you realize, oh, I actually didn't want that. I wanted to just be, and now I can be, and now I can see I can be even in this environment. And if I can be in this environment, then I can be anywhere. What exactly? I can be invincible now. What exactly is going to put me down now if I can overcome this? Right, that's all I really want to say in this video. More to come.